Why cats were treated like living gods in Egypt. Have you ever wondered why cats seem to act like they own the world? Well, there was actually a time and place where they literally did. Ancient Egypt. For over 3,000 years, cats weren't just pets in Egypt. They were living, breathing deities walking among mortals. Today, we're going to uncover the fascinating story of why ancient Egyptians worshipped cats, and how these furry creatures became the most revered animals in one of history's greatest civilizations. Our story begins around 3100 BCE in ancient Egypt, along the life-giving waters of the Nile River. The Egyptians had a unique relationship with their gods. They believed divine spirits could inhabit animals, and no animal embodied divinity quite like the cat. But this wasn't just superstition. There were very practical reasons why cats earned their godlike status. Picture ancient Egypt. Vast granaries filled with wheat and barley, the lifeblood of the empire. These stores of grain attracted swarms of rats and mice that could devastate entire harvests. Enter the cat, nature's perfect pest control system. With their lightning-fast reflexes, keen hunting instincts, and ability to see in near darkness, cats were literally saving Egyptian civilization one mouse at a time. The Egyptians quickly realized that these sleek hunters were more valuable than gold. A single cat could protect enough grain to feed dozens of families. It didn't take long for people to start seeing these creatures as gifts from the gods themselves. At the heart of Egyptian cat worship was Bastet, originally depicted as a lioness, but later transformed into a domestic cat. Bastet wasn't just any goddess. She was the protector of the home, guardian of women and children, and the divine embodiment of joy, music, and dance. Her temple in the city of Bubastis was one of the most magnificent structures in all of Egypt. Imagine walking through ancient Bubastis during Bastet's festival. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims would flood the city, bringing offerings of gold, silver, and most importantly, mummified cats. The air would be filled with music, laughter, and celebration. People believed that honoring Bastet through her earthly representatives, domestic cats, would bring protection, fertility, and prosperity to their families. But Bastet wasn't the only feline deity. Sekhmet, the lioness goddess, represented the fierce, protective aspect of divine feminine power. The Egyptians understood that cats embodied both gentle companionship and deadly precision, qualities they associated with their most powerful deities. The reverence for cats in ancient Egypt went far beyond mere appreciation. It was literally illegal to harm a cat, and killing one, even accidentally, was punishable by death. This wasn't just a law on papyrus. It was enforced with deadly seriousness. Greek historian Herodotus, writing in the 5th century BCE, recorded that when a house caught fire, Egyptians would prioritize saving their cats over their possessions. He also noted that when a family cat died naturally, every member of the household would shave off their eyebrows as a sign of mourning and respect. The export of cats from Egypt was strictly forbidden. These sacred animals were considered national treasures, too precious to share with foreign lands. Phoenician traders sometimes smuggled cats out of Egypt, but this was considered a grave crime against both the state and the gods. When an Egyptian cat died, it underwent the same mummification process reserved for pharaohs and nobles. The cat's body would be carefully preserved with natron salt, wrapped in linen bandages, and placed in elaborate sarcophagi. Some cat mummies have been found with golden masks, precious jewelry, and even mummified mice, provisions for the afterlife. Archaeological excavations have uncovered entire cemeteries dedicated exclusively to cats. In 1888, at Beni Hassan, archaeologists discovered a massive cat cemetery containing over 80,000 mummified cats. These weren't just random burials. They were carefully arranged sacred sites where families would visit to honor their departed feline companions. The mummification process itself was seen as ensuring the cat's safe passage to the afterlife, where it would continue to serve the gods, and hopefully, intercede on behalf of its human family. Many cat mummies have been found with papyrus scrolls containing prayers and requests to the deceased feline. In Egyptian households, cats lived like royalty. They were fed the finest foods, wore jewelry and collars made of precious metals, and slept on silk cushions. Wealthy families would commission portraits of their cats, often depicting them seated beneath their owner's chair in tomb paintings, ensuring they would be reunited in the afterlife. Cats had complete freedom to roam temples, palaces, and homes. They were never leashed or caged. This freedom was seen as essential to maintaining their divine nature. A confined cat was considered an abomination, an imprisonment of the divine spirit. Children were taught from an early age to treat cats with absolute respect. Feeding a cat was considered a religious act, and many Egyptians would share their meals with any stray cat they encountered, believing this would bring divine favor. The golden age of Egyptian cat worship began to wane with the rise of foreign influence. When the Romans conquered Egypt in 30 BCE, they brought different religious practices and attitudes toward animals. While cats remained respected, they gradually lost their status as living gods. The final blow came with the spread of Christianity and later Islam through Egypt. These monotheistic religions discouraged the worship of animals as deities. By the 4th century CE, the great temples of Bastet were abandoned, and the systematic worship of cats had largely ended. However, the practical value of cats ensured their survival and spread throughout the Roman Empire and beyond. The very cats that Egyptians had tried so hard to keep within their borders eventually became the ancestors of domestic cats worldwide. Today, we can still see echoes of ancient Egyptian cat worship in our modern relationship with felines. The way cats seem to expect to be treated like royalty, their aloof dignity, and our tendency to spoil them might be genetic memories of their divine past. Modern Egypt still holds cats in high regard, and it's common to see cats wandering freely through Cairo's streets and markets, fed and protected by locals who maintain an ancient tradition of feline respect. The ancient Egyptians understood something profound about cats. They recognized that these animals possessed qualities worthy of reverence: independence, grace, protective instincts, and a mysterious, almost otherworldly presence. In treating cats as living gods, the Egyptians created one of history's most remarkable human-animal relationships, one that transformed both species forever. So the next time your cat gives you that imperious look or demands to be fed at 3 a.m., remember, they're not just acting in title. They're channeling thousands of years of genuinely divine treatment, when their ancestors were literally worshipped as gods walking the earth.